Yeah, good morning, students. So, in the previous classroom discussion topic, we had a discussion on break and continue keywords, which we are basically used for exiting from the loop. We are making use of break. If we want to continue the next iteration in the loop by skipping certain set of statements within the loop body, we can make use of this continuous statement that we had seen in the previous session. So, in this particular session, we are going to discuss about the new concept which is called it as arrays in C language. So, why we are going to use arrays? What is the importance of this array? What is the definition of this array? What are the advantages and disadvantages of the array? How we can declare the array variable? That we are going to discuss in this particular session. So now I would like to share my screen. Yeah, is my screen is visible to you? Hope I think it is visible. Fine. So here this particular session is going to develop the knowledge on arrays, how we can declare an array variable and how we can use this arrays basically. Fine. So now the object outcome of this lecture is that after completion of the session, students will be able to develop the code in C language using this array concept. So what is an array? So array is a collection of same type data. So similar data type elements we are grouping together and which we are calling it as an array. So there are one dimensional, two dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays are there. Now in this particular session we are going to discuss about especially this one dimensional arrays we are going to discuss. In the next coming sessions we are going to discuss about the two dimensional as well as multi-dimensional arrays. So what is an array? Just now we discussed that array is a collection of elements of the same data type and that are referenced by a common name. So with the same name, we are referring to that particular collection. So compared to the basic data types like int, float, char, and then double, so array is said to be a derived data type. Array is said to be a derived data type. So all the elements of an array occupy a set of contiguous memory locations. That means here the array variables are going to be stored in a sequential manner. Fine. So why we need arrays basically? So what is the purpose of using this array variable? So for example, consider the following scenario where we have a list of 1000 students. Now you want to store the marks scored by each and every student in a particular subject. So basically the marks are integer type. So if you are using the basic type as integer and we will declare the variables like this, if you want to store 1000 students marks, so into student mark 0, into student mark 1, into student mark 2 and so on, we have to declare so many variables, 1000 variables we have to declare. So you think of that, how much cumbersome it is a process to declare so many variables and how we can handle those particular scenario. So instead of declaring 1000 independent integer variables, you can group those 1000 variables into a single group like this by making use of an array. So by using an array, so we can declare that std mark is an array name, and where this is nothing but we are calling it as a size. So 1000 is the size and all these thousands are the integer values we are going to store. So what it happens here is that, so this is student marks is called it as an array variable. So this is a array name, so where we are going to store the array values basically. So this will reserve 1000 contiguous memory locations for storing the 1000 integer values which represents the student marks. So graphically this can be shown in this following figure. For example, if you take here, So this is the 43 is the marks scored by student, first student, and 70 is the another student marks. So like that you are storing these marks scored by 1,000 students. So starting from 0th index, it is going up to 999. So this is what we are calling it as a memory allocation or memory storage. So what type of stored in this particular array? So all are integer type, and this 0 1 0 1 2 3 4 and so on 999, they are called it as a subscript or index, we are calling it as. So we are making use of this index to refer each element in this particular array. So generally this index or subscript is going to be starting from 0 instead of 1. Okay. So this std mark is the name of the array. This is the array name. So you can refer this first L mark by making use of std marks of 0, std mark of 1, std mark of 2, std mark of 3, like that. Individual elements in the array can be referenced by making use of this subscript. Fine. So this is what, how the memory is allocated for the array. The memory is going to be allocated for the array in a contiguous manner. Okay, that is nothing but in a sequential manner the memory is going to be allocated. So now coming to this, what are the advantages of arrays? So the main advantage is that code optimization. That means less code to the access the data. So we can access individual elements by writing less amount of code. We can do the accessing of that particular data. So another important advantage is that ease of traversing. So we can access every element from an array easily just by using a for loop. We can access individual elements. Another advantage is that ease of sorting. So to sort the elements of the array, we need a few lines of code only so that we can arrange the elements in the array either ascending or descending order. So another important advantage is that random access. That means we can access any element randomly with the array name followed by the subscript. You can access that a of 10. So it is accessing the 10th element. You need not require to access 0 to 9 elements in order to access 10th element. So randomly, whatever the index location element you want, you can able to access that index location element. You can specify that a is array name, so a of ith location element. If you are accessing that a of I, fine. So then coming to this disadvantages, what is the disadvantage with the array is that because arrays are having a fixed size, so whatever the size we define at the time of declaration of the array, we cannot exceed the limit. So it does not grow the size dynamically, just like a linked list. Okay, so the size is fixed here. So that is the reason we cannot store more than that size number of elements in the array. And we have to declare the size of the array at the time of declaration of the array itself. We have to do that. That is a static declaration, we can call it as. Fine. So this linked list, which is dynamically growing its size, so which we can learn in next semester data structure subject. We will discuss about this, what is the linked list here. Okay. So these are what the advantages and disadvantages are. Now coming to this, how this one dimensional arrays can be declared. So the dimension refers to the size of this array basically. So how big the array is basically. So a single or one dimensional array declaration will follow the following syntax. Just now already we followed this particular syntax. So data type followed by array name, and then we are specifying the size. So here data type defines the basic type of the array, which type of elements we are going to store within this array. Just like int or char or float or double, what type of elements we are going to store. Then next, array name is a valid C identifier, which we are giving the name for that particular entire collection of elements. So it is also satisfying the same rules which are used for naming of the identifiers, which we discussed that. So this is what the array name. And then array size defines how many elements that the array will able to store. So now if you see this, this is an example here, char cname of 30. So where this char is the basic data type and cname is the array name. So it is going to store how many characters into this array? 30 characters we are going to store. So generally if you want to store a person name, if you want to store that, which is having a group of characters, generally we will declare it as a character array. So which can be shown, this character array which can be shown in this particular diagram here. So where in every location we are storing individual characters, we are storing that. So C name of 0, C name of 1, C name of 2, like that, C name of 29. So it is going to store individual characters in every location. So the array character can store up to 30 characters, with the first character occupying C name of 0th location and the last character is occupying C name of 21 location. So the index is always run from 0 to, index is always runs from 0 to 29. Okay, so because you have declared it as 30. So take note the difference between the array size and subscript or index in terms of this. Okay. Then coming to this another example where how you can declare this one dimensional array. So if you take this int x num of 20 and y num of 50. So these are the two arrays which is of integer type. Size is 20 and y num is 50. Similarly float f price of 10. So it is f price is an array which is able to store the float values. Okay, f yield, it is just a float variable. It is not an array. It is just a normal float variable. And then ch letter of 70, which is a character array which can able to store 70 characters into it. So why 69 instead of 70 here? Because here the every character the string has to be terminated basically with a null character. So backslash 0 at the end, every string should be terminated. So that is the reason here we have to declare one extra. Suppose if you want to store 5 characters in the character array, you have to declare the size as 6, because one extra space is required here which is used to store the null character which indicates the end of the character array. Fine. So this is what the important concept regarding these character arrays. So this is an example program which is used to print the largest and the second largest element in the given array of elements. So we are trying to read n number of elements. So here we are declaring an array which is of size maximum 100, but it may take n value, we are reading that, but this n should not be more than 100. So enter the size of the array n and print the elements we are reading by making use of this loop, for loop. So we are reading individual elements into the array, n number of elements we are reading. So this loop is used for reading the elements into the array. So this every time you have to remember this particular code, how we are using a for loop to read the array elements, n number of array elements into this ARR array. Fine. So then once after you read this array elements, for example, you have given n value is, for example, you have given n value as 5. Okay. So this is 10 and then we have 5 and then this is 3 and this is 6 and another one is we have 7, for example. These are the elements we have given in this ARR array. Fine. So n is equal to 5 we have given here. Okay. Now our problem statement is that we have to find the largest element as well as second largest element we have to find. So generally the what is the largest element? 10 is the largest element and second largest element is what? 7. So your program should output 10 is the first largest element and then 7 is the second largest element. You have to output this program, your program. So that is what the problem is, you are going to do that. So what we are doing here is that after reading all these 5 elements using this for loop, now what I am using here is that largest is equal to ARR of 0. That means I am assuming that in the 0th location whatever the element that is there, that is the largest I am assuming. And the second largest I am assuming it as ARR 1 location, I am assuming it as the second largest. This is the second largest and this is the first largest. Fine. Then I am starting from I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, because you have n number of elements. So you have to search in all these n elements. So how we are doing? If ARR of I is greater than largest. Okay, ARR of I means ARR of 0, 10. 10 is greater than largest is what? 10. So largest is having 10 value. Okay, so then largest is having 10 value and second largest is having ARR of 1 means 5. Fine. So if ARR of 0 is greater than 10 is greater than 10, no. Then I am checking here, I am coming here. ARR of 0, 10, 10 is greater than second largest. 10 is greater than second largest, yes. And ARR of 0 is not equal to largest. is not equal to largest, AR of 0 is not equal to largest, no. This condition is also not true. Then what I am doing here, I plus plus. I am not executing this one. Also, I am not executing this one. Then I am coming I plus plus. So I becomes 1. So AR of 1 means 5. So AR of 1 means 5. 5 is greater than largest 10. No. I am coming here. AR of 5. 5 is greater than second largest. 5 is greater than second largest is what? 5. 5 is greater than 5? No. Irrespective of this condition, it also does not execute. So then I plus plus. I becomes 2. So error of 2 is 3. 3 is greater than 10? No. 3 is greater than 5? No. So it is taking next I plus plus 6. So 6 is greater than largest? No, it is not true. 6 is greater than second largest? Yes. And error of I is not equal to largest? Okay, yes, it is not equal to largest. 6 is not equal to 10. Condition is true, then second largest is equal to, now it will take it as a 6. Then next it will take 7. So that is the AR of 4. It will take that I value is 4. Then AR of I 4 means 7. It will take 7 is greater than largest. No. 7 is greater than second largest. Yes. 7 is greater than second largest. Yes. And AR of 4 is not equal to largest. 7 is not equal to largest. Then second largest is equal to 7. So like that here, largest is 10 and second largest is 7. We are going to print that. Fine. So this is an example program using arrays basically. So this is a reflection spot here. Identify the wrong declaration of array from this following state declarations. So can anyone tell me what is this wrong declaration? Right. C is the wrong declaration in this because we are used here round parenthesis. We have used that. Actually, we have to use square parenthesis. We have to use square brackets. We have to use. Fine. So this is what the declaration is basically. So after completion of this session, students will able to develop the code in C using array concept. That is what the outcome of this session. Now the summary of this session is that an array is defined as a collection of similar data type elements which are stored in contiguous memory locations. Arrays are derived data types, okay, which can be derived from the primitive data types such as int, char, double, float, etc. It also has the capabilities to store the collection of derived data types such as pointers and structures. So the array is the simplest data structure where each element can be randomly accessed by using its subscript or the index number. And we can declare an array in the C language by following the syntax like data type, then array name, after that the size of the array. Fine. So this is what the summary of this today's session. So this is a lecture level practice problem. So develop a C program to find the mean and variance of a set of n given integers. So please try to solve this particular problem. Mean is nothing but sum of the n given integers divided by total number of n. Okay, and the variance is also, you can compute that each observation xi minus mean whole square. If you do that, you can able to get it as a variance. So you have the idea about this particular problem. Fine. So thank you and all. So any doubts you have?